Wow. Whoa. I just found out now that I can actually live stream. So what I don't even know is whether this thing is live streaming now. Wow. Hello, good evening, everyone. Stop live stream. So that means it's actually live streaming. Wow, this is cool. Good evening. I'm trying to see if I can just shift this thing over. Good evening. Sorry, I'm doing great though. Split. See if I can find. Wow. Okay, this is cool. Oh, so it's a little late. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Coach. Good evening, everyone.
Been a minute.
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Fantastic. I'm doing great.
That's good to know.
I'm doing amazing, actually. So I actually want us to talk about Friday, though. Saturday, sorry. That's really what I wanted us to talk about. Yeah, that's what I wanted us to talk about. Saturday. So I wanted to talk to us about this man and why it is critically important. I don't know the reason why I did not remove the waiting room, so it's just stressing me out. Because everybody wants to get in and then I have to approve everybody. And I did this meeting without my team being involved, so I don't want to stress them out. By the way, behind me, if you can see behind me, it's 8 o'clock. It doesn't get dark here until maybe about 10 o'clock. A little different. I think the only place I've seen this kind of phenomenon Mr. Ahmed in a very noisy place. So the only place I've seen this phenomenon was in France. I don't know. Okay, maybe in Rwanda. I saw some kind of things in Rwanda. Okay, great. So I'm going to give an opportunity to answer questions. If you have any issues, anything you want us to discuss. But I just want to start out talking about, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about this event and why I think it's important that you come. And then I also want to talk about the convention, why I think it's important that you join us. Please join us. And I had a very, very significant, a very good conversation with somebody here today. Here in Manchester, trying to help him understand the reason why the convention is important. I'm not going to record this meeting because anybody that miss it for himself. So trying to explain why the meeting is, why the convention is very, very important, very, very, very important. But before we get there, let's talk about. So Mr. Alex Great is a very humble man, someone that I respect a lot. Those of us, how many of us here in this room right now? Yeah, usually in summer, yes. In winter, it gets darker pretty early, like 3, 4, it's already dark. How many of us here attended the convention last year? Right? How many of us here attended the convention last? Okay, Vivian is here. Maybe Vivian can help me. How many of us here? I think I can see some of us here. There is Max. No, not this Max. So there's where's Maximilian? Maximilian is not here. There's Deji. Deji attended the convention last year. I don't know if Ahmed attended the convention last year. I can't remember if he did. So again, I don't desirable excellent ventures. I'd like to know who that is. But how many of us here attended the convention last year? Can you guys hear me? Feels like my screen is...
Yes, loud and clear, Coach. Thank you.
My screen seems like it's frozen. Okay. Okay. My screen seems like it's frozen. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, and the screen is not frozen.
It's not. From your perspective, Abi, it's from here.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah.
It seems like it's frozen. Let me just keep talking.
Not from my side. It's okay.
Okay.
We can hear you, and you're not frozen.
Okay. Okay. I want to take something out of the screen, and it's not working. That's why I thought that. Well, this is working. So why is this not working? Where's Vivian? Just give me a second. I need to make Vivian host. Okay, good. And then I need to reclaim host. Yeah, so it's working now. Okay, good. So Mr. Alex Great is one of the very humble. He spoke at the convention last year. He also spoke about 2 months ago at the mastermind meeting. He's done very, very, very significantly high level sales. He's facilitated close to $2.4 billion in sales here in Nigeria. When he was country director at General Electric. He's at the moment also country sales director at Bentley, Nevada, a Baker Hughes company. And he's also helped a number of startup entrepreneurs sort of create the first set, essentially their business from scratch, right? You know, when he was talking to us at the mastermind meeting, one of the things that sort of struck me from what he said was that if you run a business in Nigeria that does less than 10 billion naira, you're still a startup. How many of us heard what I just said? If your business does less than 10 billion, you're still a startup. So if your business now does less than 1 billion, what are you? You're a non-starter. You know, and he said the reason why he said that was because a lot of us need to think very global in our approach as to, you know, how well our business is doing globally, and, you know, sort of raise our hunger so that we can meet up with what's required for the kind of growth that we want to grow, for the kind of growth that we are essentially hoping for, right? So it's very, very, very important, you know, that you come for the hangout. The hangout session is really, and let me explain why these hangout sessions are very important. Many of us might not know this, right? But there's a lot of activities that go on inside of the community, like a lot of activities. By the way, Bisola, have you sent out those messages with this picture? Please, let's send it out today. So there's a lot of activities that go on inside the community, and if you don't plug yourself well into the community, you're going to you're not going to realize how much opportunities you are missing. You know, I'm telling you, just figuring out ways to stay connected is significantly going to impact your business. Figuring out ways to stay connected to the community is significantly going to impact your business for many reasons. One is that I personally get a lot of opportunities. For example, a lot of us, if you are here and you are in the agri business, there is a program, a free program that I just got access to. Some research program that some research and funding type of program that is happening at Eric Kaiser, Alliance Française, or what is called the Mike Adenuga Center in Ikoyi. I only have opportunity for like 10 or 15 people. So if you are here and you are in a Greek business or any business that sort of ties into the agri sector, please let me know. I'm going to get details about that tonight, and I'm going to try and push it out to all of us. So there's a lot of opportunities. So for example, when we have projects, for example, when we have projects as a company, we try to provide access to those projects to members of the community. And the reason why we try to provide access to those projects to the members of the community is because we want to be able to showcase what they've done as a result. I mean, working with us, because we want to take the risk with the client, with the person, whether they've done the business or not, as long as we can verify that they're capable. And then we now want to then present them to the community. And of course, we've seen stupendous success in that regard. Some people that have done business, that we've done business with, have gone on to get a lot of other projects. I mean, the office renovation, she's gone on to get, at least I know that she's working on one project full time that is, maybe twice the size of our business, of our own project, and our own is about 30 million naira. So, and so I know she's working on one project. I know she has two projects, pending, so all of that is going to happen. So, and these type of opportunities are provided for when we network, when we meet. So the purpose of the Hangout event is so that we can even meet. There are people inside the community that are very, 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 very good. Surveyor Ayo. I mean, that's a big opportunity, in diaspora for people that are surveyors. So we'll talk about that one when I get back to town. I mean, I just found in fact, it's so big. I'm working with, one of my clients to turn it into an entire business. It's going to generate, yesterday I was talking with him till like 12 midnight, and it's going to generate, at least from what we've projected, almost even $1 billion in revenue if done properly. Right. So the reason why these Hangout events are done is so that, by the way, you guys might not know, this Mr. Alex Great here that is speaking, this guy that has done $2.something billion worth of business, everything. This Mr. Alex Great here, is a alumni of the Strategy Factory. If you don't believe me, let me show you the video that he did. Where is that video? Let me look for the video. How do I find videos here now? Videos. How do you find videos? How do I find V? I don't know where my. Okay, LSF. Where's LSF? LSF. Okay, I'll find this video now. I'll find this video and play it so that you even know. You see what. Where's that video? It's one of these videos here. Oh, Let me see if it's this one. Okay, still loading. Is one of these. Let me. So he's one of our alumni members. one of the members of the alumni. So he's attended our class before. So it's important to be able to come into these classes, to these alumni sessions, so that you can learn, you can network. Because I found that more than one of the biggest values that I see that we have on everybody else as a community is that we can connect you to the kind of opportunities that you want, the kind of opportunities that you've been looking forward to, the kind of opportunities that you're looking forward to being able to access. Because sometimes it's not strategy. I mean, as good as strategy is, sometimes what you need is the right person in your corner, the right opportunities, and those things have an effect on our lives like nothing else we've ever seen before. So it's very, very important that when you get an opportunity to be able to attend a meeting like this, please attend. It's only for a few hours. Maximum, we start at 8:30. By 12:30, whatever it is we are doing, we're out. In fact, Mr. Alex Greatself, he's supposed to attend, he's attending a wedding as the chairperson of the wedding. So he's just doing us a favor by coming to the session so that he can finish up and then leave for the wedding. So it's very, very important. But the second thing I wanted us to discuss, I'm trying to still look for his video. The second thing I wanted us to discuss is, the convention. So why is that convention important? So somebody asked me today, why are we doing the convention, right? So I wanted to answer it. And in fact, someone asked me yesterday why we're doing the convention. So I explained to him, and he's sending 100 people from his organization to the convention, which is huge, right? Good. So I want to explain to you guys, why is this convention important, and why is it particularly important that we get the kind of speakers, the quality of speakers that we want, that we're trying to go for. Today I was in 3 different meetings today, trying to get, trying to find, because we're working, working towards Dangote officially, but we want to find like 3 or 4 other, avenues to be able to get access to. So, but why is it important? You see, business is, so there are 3 factors in business, right? There is money for people that become successful. Then there is power, and then there is influence. And then if you're a successful business person, meaning that you have a lot of money and you don't have access to power, or you don't have power, your business can be snuffed out in a jiffy. But to be able to get power, oftentimes you need influence, or you need access to somebody who has influence. And so one of the things that we realized, and let me explain it this way. One of the things that we realized, give me a minute. I need to get my pencil. One of the things that we realized, pencil is dead, is that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of us, essentially started out as bootstrap entrepreneurs. So we decided, we built something, we grew something, we got ourselves together, and we try to build, right? When you start like that, and you're lucky enough. So when you start like that, there are usually 3 major obstacles. Because you did not start with a lot of money, chances are that you could get stuck in a cycle of doing small business. I'll give you an example. The perfect example I had. So I was doing a session maybe about 12 years ago. This must have been 12 years ago. So I was talking to a group of business people. It was a very small group, about maybe 5-10 people. And I asked, trying to find out what people do. So I found this lady, and this lady, she does, she runs a, what do they call it? She has a bright, she's a fashion designer or a tailor, and she does bridal, what do you call that thing? Wedding dresses, yeah. So she does wedding dresses, right? So when she does wedding dress, so I asked her, how many wedding dresses can you do? So I think it must have been even an NYC program. I can't remember what it was, but it was just some new entrepreneurs. So I said, how many wedding dresses can you do in a month? Like in terms of her maximum capacity, right? Please, can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you say something? Or
Yes,
type.
I can hear you.
So I asked
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So I asked this lady, how many wedding dresses can you make? What's the maximum capacity of wedding dresses that you can make? So she said the maximum capacity you can make is 10. In fact, yeah, it must have been 13 years ago. In fact, it was after this meeting that I shifted the way we served our community. This is when I shifted from just come and do training and go home to almost like a community sort of model. So she said she can make 10. So I said, how much does she charge? She says she charges 50,000 for a wedding dress. This was 13 years ago. So I said, okay, good. So I said, if 100 people show up to you now, can you do? She said, no. That her capacity, based on the machines and everything she had, was 10. I mean, that's even like a blessing if she gets 10. So I said, okay, good. So that means that your income is capped at 500K a month maximum right now. She said, yes. I said, what can you do to increase your income? She said, one of the things she can do to increase her income is to sort of get better machineries, maybe get a bigger space and the like. So we did an analysis of what she would need, and it was going to be about 3 million naira to be able to sort of get into a space where she could do a lot more than this. I said, okay, good. So I said, of this 500K, assuming you get this 500K every month, right? How much of this can you save in a month? And, based on her expenses and the likes, being the breadwinner in the house, she could only save about 50K. So I said 50K. That means in a year, you save 600K. That means it will take you 5 years to get to this 3 million. By which time, when she gets to this 3 million, the cost of the machine might no longer be, or the cost of whatever it is that she needs might be higher than 3 million. So I said, what if you could access a client that is comfortable paying 200,000 for a wedding dress? What if that was possible? Of course, you need to improve your skill, because the person who's paying 20,000 for a wedding dress is concerned about, a lot more style, a lot more finer details, a lot more branding on your own part and all that. But all of those things are things within your domain that you could do. Now, what if you could do this, right? What if you could do this? Instead of making 500,000 a month, that income immediately goes up to 2 million, assuming you do 10, right? Now, because this jump is essentially a brand equity jump, your expenses would not be significantly higher. So maybe in a month, you could save 1 million naira. And then maybe in 3 months, you could be thinking about buying the things that you want to buy. So the big question she then asked is, all this is nice, but how do I find people that are going to pay 200,000 naira? So that was where we decided that, when we do our events, we're going to try as much as possible to create a symbiotic relationship, because people come to us at different times. And I've mentioned this so many times. I've seen somebody who, is within the community, and some of their biggest projects, at least at the time they did those projects, was recommended by us, not because the people trusted them, but they trusted that we would make the right decisions in recommending sending people to them. Now, I'll be honest with you, it hasn't always gone well. Sometimes those people have messed up the project, which makes us a little bit more careful. But I mean, I've seen people who've done, 2-3 years worth of their transaction. I mean, a typical transaction that they do 2-3 years in one transaction, that we recommend to them. So that's one of the reasons why. So to be able to do that, we had to realize that we needed to structure the community into 3 different buckets. But we're trying to also assess a 4th bucket. So I'll explain the 3 buckets, and then we'll talk about this 4th bucket. This 4th bucket is the reason why the strategy convention actually exists. This 4th bucket is the reason why the strategy convention exists. So this first bucket is what we'll call startup. Now, these are the people that, they're trying to have an idea to their first 50 million. I'm thinking of what to do until I hit my first 50 million. We consider these people startup, right? This second set of people are people that we call growing business. They've exceeded their first 50 million, but they haven't hit their first billionaire yet. Sorry. Right? They've not reached their first billionaire yet. And then these third people are people who they've done more than 1 billion. So why are these 3? So how have we been able to use this community very well? We've used this community very well because we found that a number of people in this category, we've been able to connect them to people here or people here. So for example, some classic examples I have is a guy that sells cars is connected to somebody here who buys cars for his for last incentives, and did essentially 4 years of transactions in 4 years of sales in one transaction, as it were. We've done a lot of connections of people from here, either whether it's interior person or somebody who has a rice business or whichever way. We've done quite a number of these recommendations this way. We've done quite a number of these recommendations this way and recommendations this way, right? And it sort of kept the community, pretty strong, because what's happening is that sometimes what you really need as a business is to have access to the right people. That's the truth. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with your strategy. There's nothing wrong with what you are doing. There's nothing wrong with your plan. You just are not talking to the right person. It's just that simple, right? So we try to be able to do that, and we're constantly working on ways to increase, the amount of, connections that we make within the community, as it were. But there's these people here, and then there what you call here as industry leaders. So here you would see, Dangote, Tony, all of the big names. Think about anybody who is like center corporate Nigeria, that's where they are. However, we now found out that these guys, they have money, they have power, they have influence. You see these guys here, these are our friends here with billions and all that. They have money, they don't really have power. They might have a little bit of influence, but not a lot of influence. And same goes down. I mean, these ones don't have as much money. These ones don't have money problems. These ones have money plus influence, but they don't have power. So we, to be honest, really believe that everybody who we've had the opportunity to work with, whether it's you or a big business, whatever it is, I like to believe the best of every business. I'd like to believe that every business should get to this point. Honestly, this is my belief. And you see, you don't grow into this place. You are brought into it. That's the truth. You don't grow into that place. You are brought into it. Let me explain what I mean by you're brought into it. You see, to get into this industry leading type situation, right? You need some relationships. We're already working with some guys. One of the people that I came with to the UK, I recommended, for the award. He's gotten the award. I came with to the UK. We're already working. I mean, he was telling me. Let me just explain this thing to you guys. He was explaining to me. We're talking yesterday night. He was explaining to me how that, right? And I need you to hear this. So how that, he just wants to test, the strength of the relationship, that is hard, because one of the things that I encourage you need to have, you need to have bank CEOs as a friend, like CEO of a bank. And he was able to get 500 million over a text message. Sorry, over a WhatsApp message. Did you guys hear what I said?
Amazing. Yes.
Raised 500 million over
Wait,
WhatsApp
yes,
message.
but it's not clear. Come again.
Raised 500 million over a WhatsApp message. Hey, good evening, sir. How's everything? I need like 500 million, for a project. Say no problem. They wire the money and they are doing the paperwork later.
This is like a fairy tale.
See, so I first heard of this a couple of years ago. So I have a friend that works in First Bank. He's a top guy in First Bank and he works in First Bank headquarters. So I remember one day I was talking to him. I said, guy, I mean, I know Dangote takes money from a bank. How does this thing work? I mean, do they do paperwork, all this? He said, Dangote. I said, yeah. I said, did you just say Dangote? He said, yes. He said, Dangote tells the MD that he needs money. Then we wire the money to him. Then we now spend months, our lawyer and his lawyer, doing the paperwork, canceling, crossing the T and dotting the I of the money we have already sent to him. I'm like, okay, that's what we are talking about. That's what happens when, how many of us watch the saga between Otedola and Tony? Otedola buys, so Tony, I think Tony had like 5% shares of a company. Otedola buys 20.5% or something like that. And it's forming where, I'm going to work with Tony. And then they show Tony the next, Tony say, oh, we welcome him to the board, we are looking forward to working together. The next day, Harris Holdings amalgamated $52 billion and bought 57% shares of the company. You get that kind of money with relationships. You pick up the phone and say, about how far? I need 5 billion. I need 20 billion. How do we make this thing work? And then that's what. So we need to have us in this place. We need to have us here, and to get here, it's not strategy, yes, but it's networking at a certain level. And we realized that as a company, as a knowledge company, we have a unique opportunity to provide that for our community. Because you see all these guys in this place, at the level of success they've attained, the only thing that really fulfills them at this level is sharing the knowledge that they have. It's sharing the knowledge that they have, to be honest, However, because of their brand positioning, the location has to be right. The audience size has to be right. Should I tell you one of the reasons why we have not really confirmed, Dangote? Let me just be honest with you guys. So when we went to see him, the man was giving us the impression we showed him, we saw the pictures of the assets. Oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. But do you guys have like a, so essentially what he told us is that he wants us to guarantee that we can put 800 to 1,000 people in the room. That if we can show that that's possible, that we can close him in. And I understand, of course, if Dangote is going to come for an event, it has to be a massive event, But again, we're not just working on Dangote. We're working on, at the verge of getting the MD of Keystone Bank to come. I was talking to someone who was explaining to me how much they're doing for businesses. And I said, okay, if they're doing that much for businesses, we do have a large community of businesses. Let's see what we can do together and, sort of have him in. I had a conversation with somebody today to try and bring, some other. We have like the MD of Keystone Bank. We have the backup person in Wale Tinubu. We have connections to all these guys, and we're trying to get these guys in the room because we want them to come and talk us through some of the things that they've done. But more than talk us through some of the things that they've done, realistically, more than talk us through some of the things that they've done, we want them in the room. We want our people in the room. We want opportunities to be able to connect with them. We want opportunities to be able, we want to be able to get an inroad so that we can bring some people into their world. Imagine if we could get Dangote in, we could say, okay, maybe mastermind community or maybe a select group of entrepreneurs can meet with him, maybe at a dinner before or after the event. The purpose is this, is that sometimes, so let me give you an instance. The guys that, we brought to the UK, one of the people that was in this, so one of the guys that we brought to the UK had been trying to get, sort of go into oil and gas and sort of get an oil and gas license, some license that he said he'd been trying to process. And so we go to the UK, and inside the meeting that we were in, was the permanent secretary for the oil and gas, the entire oil and gas, oil now, not NMPC, NMPC is a private company now, but the person who leads that ministry, the permanent secretary in charge, because the ministers are not being chosen, but the permanent secretaries are the most powerful people. The guy was in the room. The guy came because I spoke at the lecture series. The guy also spoke. So I was able to sort of connect them. They've exchanged numbers. And then he told him right there and then, said, sir, I've been trying to get this license. It's been proving very difficult. I said, not a problem. Just give me a call. We'll make it happen in a week. It happened because of relationship. If he did not follow me to the UK and we did not provide that opportunity, he wouldn't be in that room. He wouldn't be able to make those decisions, as it were. So the convention, for us, to be honest, serves as an opportunity for us to extend the size of the community to include some of the biggest entrepreneurs in Nigeria, and then try as much as possible to see how we can provide that value across board, right? How we can provide that value across board, right? So that as your business grows bigger, and I believe that it would, I hope that you are going to build a big business. But as your business grows bigger, we would be able to, find access to these people at a much, much, much higher level, right? Because the truth is, we can hold the convention without bringing all these big names, but it's necessary that we do so because nobody gets into the top. Everybody is brought there, and if you guys are, and I do hope that you're thinking to be very big, because I am, if you want to be really, really, really big, there are opportunities. There are, for example, one of the guys that I met on my trip here is the guy who does market research and market strategy reports for MasterCard. Is the official guy that's been doing it for Faith Foundation for a couple of years now. for Unilever, for all the blue chip companies, Listen, all the blue chip company is the one that does the market research for them. He has the reports. He has like entrepreneurship reports, 10 years that he's done for Faith Foundation, for MasterCard, for all these guys. 10 years reports. Like this guy can tell you what's happening in this country. I spoke alongside him here in Manchester. He analyzed the economy. And I'm like, where has this guy been all my life? But you find these people. And then now that we found him now, we started to discuss how we're going to take this knowledge that he has and then get it into our community so that we can now, as business owners, we can make much more informed decisions as we go ahead building our businesses and the likes. Because, so that's one of the reasons why the convention is important, because yes, it will provide you opportunity for networking. Trust me, you would, network, you'd make a lot of, of course, it's coming at a good time. You would, in November, end of November, people are beginning to plan what they will do next year. So it's a great time for that. Yes, you will get proven strategies. You will understand the macroeconomy, but, it's an investment in our long-term access, for those of us that want to build big businesses. It's investment in long-term access, because what we want to do is, create this access and create the long-term benefit of being a part of the community. Because if you are a part of this community, let me explain how big I think or what we want to do. Right? Of course, we would be able to execute this at different levels, but there's a future in which I believe, we would be able to help. We're beginning to start it. It's proving to be a lot more challenging than we thought. But one of the major things we want to be able to solve this year, next year, is funding for our people. And we're still talking to people that need big funds, so we're talking, people that want to do 200, 500, 1 point something billion. And we've solved some for some people, but a few really. But we're also beginning to realize that, the businesses that we're trying to solve the problem for, it'll take a little while because a lot of them are not structured, or they are not, their report card does not look like what the bank wants to see or what the financial institutions want to see, But we can also make that easy to get over by relationships. Part of the people that we're also working on bringing, if we can get him, is the MD of the largest investment bank in the country. Let him come, let him see that entrepreneurs are working hard, let him see that they're not doing as bad as he thought. And then let us have a conversation about creating a fund. I have a call at 9 o'clock. I'm going to end this by 9 o'clock. I have a call at 9 o'clock, and that is the call. What we want to discuss is, we want to create a fund. We want to create a fund. The people that we have, many of them don't need 100 billion, 20 billion. Some of them need small money, 100 million, 50 million, 200 million. Can we create a fund? And what does it take? What are the things that we can do to create that fund and make it possible to get our community to access it? So that's the conversation I'm going to be having at 9 p.m. tonight. To see, whether that's even possible. Then we also want to see if we can. The other thing is that we also want to work with some people inside our community, some big businesses inside our community, and say, okay, can we also create a fund? Can this big business, we have a number of big businesses, the billion naira businesses. Can everybody just put some funds together? Let's, put some funds together, and have maybe like a 50 to 100 million naira sitting somewhere so that the businesses in the community that need 5 million, 10 million, 500,000, can we create a system by which we can also sort of provide assistance to those guys, and then everybody returns the money? Like, what can we do? And so this is the conversations that's already happening, where, for example, I know for a fact that with the conversations we are having now, I know that there are two types of funds that we would be able to create. I hope we would be able to create this high-end, 100 million and above type of fund. I'm very positive that these conversations will start something that hopefully will get there. And of course, it's not going to be us. We just want to find an organization that can get that money. The money stays with them, and then we can then say, okay, how do we get people to access this? And what's the best way that we can make it accessible? And then we also know that we want to create a fund for the smallest businesses. That would be an opportunity for people to access money for projects and be able to return it. People that don't need a lot of money, 2 million, 3 million, maybe 5 million, as it were, to be able to access that kind of money, So we're working on those two angles, but one of the ways to be able to easily get those two things done is to be able to pull off these kind of events, bring these people into your world so that they see what you have. And then they're not looking to say, what, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. Where can we partner? How can things happen to be able to support these guys? Because we want to now start to look serious as an interest group, such that these businesses can support. So that's the reason why the convention is important, because I truly believe that everybody in this room and everybody in the community, as it were, will be successful. And I believe that Nigeria is the kind of success that is coming, to Nigeria is, now I'm fortunate to have traveled quite a bit, but I've never been to the UK. And so I'd always thought about how I would feel coming to the UK, because everybody's jackpotting to this place. So I'm thinking, what would it be like, And I entered this place and I realized that I'm not even interested in the place. Right? That there's opportunity. I'm just here and I'm seeing, look, you can't be rich living in this place. There's opportunity in Nigeria, pieces opportunity, And I think that every one of us, sorry, 1 minute. Let me call you in 10. So first things first, please make it to the hangout on Saturday, please. It's very, very important. Secondly, please, let's get to the convention, but we'll talk a little bit more about the convention on Saturday. But we're going to have a session on Saturday by Mr. Alex Great, and we might also add an additional session by somebody else. I would talk, but I would probably just share a couple of things, share a couple of our plans with us. We did some of that in January, where we said, look, what we want to do is to build enough to be able to build a fund. What we want to do is to build enough to be able to provide access to the people in our community, to access certain type of things, but I'm really hopeful that we can build something really, really big. So having said that, thank you. I want to take one or two questions because I have to get out at 9. But I want to take one or two questions for your business now. Just anything that you think. Yes, sir. Mr. Kunle? Yes. I got your message. Fantastic. Can we work? I'll call you, sir. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe both of us can start to think through that this model that you sent to me, and we would work on that. Yeah. Any question? Anybody with a question for me? Anybody with a question for me? Anybody with a question for me? First, I want to say thank you for joining in. I mean, short notice, 20, 27, 24 people. Thank you. Okay, so let's hear it.
Question. Yes, concerning the agricultural loan you mentioned earlier, does it
I didn't say
apply
agricultural
to?
loan. I said anybody in agribusiness. There's an opportunity that I have
Sorry,
for.
yes, that one. Does it
Yes.
also apply to like poultry farmers, like somebody who rears birds as well, something like that?
Agric is everything from. I mean,
Okay.
so I would
Yeah.
send that information. Yeah, agric.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because my mom has a poultry that I think would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's agric also. It applies. It applies.
Good evening.
Good evening, man. Does sewing clothes apply to agric? If you apply,
Yeah.
if you sew farm clothes, it could apply.
Production of uniform. How Ezekiel, what plan do you have for us? Those that have factory like us that produce uniform. We want to buy bigger machines.
So let me explain. Let me explain something that has happened. So a couple of years ago, I worked with a lady that started out a factory line. She came from the UK. That's when I saw a massive opportunity. She's the one, I think she's still the one that does it now, except if it has changed. She's the one that does the entire tailoring for Access Marathon. I think maybe like 100,000 a pair. It's ridiculous what she does. And it's a huge project.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's the one that does everything for Access Marathon, since for almost maybe 5-6 years now. I don't know how long Access Marathon has been on, but let me explain why she got that project and why it's difficult for a lot of us to get that project. You see, the person that she got the contact from to do Access Marathon, she met the person in Switzerland, Geneva. In Switzerland. You see, there are projects that we would get. Sorry, there are projects we cannot get if we don't create access. Global access.
True.
There is no prayer I want to pray until you meet somebody in, for example, now there are people that I met, because one of the reasons why pictures of my speech isn't out is because you can't carry the security to enter inside that place is serious matter. So you can't really carry cameras and all those things, right? There are meetings that you have in that place. If you and somebody jam in that place. For example, I met with the group CEO of Transcorp, Mrs. Dr. Owen Omogaifo. And I've known her for years, I even sent her Instagram message one time, say, how far, I like what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Nothing until both of us meet for European School of Economics, where I'm speaking, she's speaking. She can't begin for that place, and she begin to reply my Instagram message. Do you understand? So that's what I used to tell people, where you meet people is more important than meeting them.
True.
Where you meet people is more important than meeting them. Because where you meet somebody colors the perception. So if you were in that place now, for example, let's say you were at the House of Parliament, and for whatever reason, the Minister for Education was there. If you told that minister, you know what? We should be making uniforms for the federal government schools. Do you know that it's easier for that conversation to happen?
Yes. True.
Yeah. It's easier for that conversation to happen because of where you met. If someone said Mrs. Owen, yes, the same Mrs. Owen that you know. The same Mrs. Owen. Yes, now.
I want her to wear my beads, though.
Do you understand? So the opportunities that you have. Sorry, 1 minute. Let me just see if it. Alpha, are you guys back? Are you guys back?
Yeah, good to hear. We just got back home.
Okay. I'm in a Zoom session now. Can I call you like in maybe 15-20 minutes?
Come over to us.
No, I'll call you. I'll call you in 15-20 minutes.
Okay, cool. I sent you my chat to Rex.
Yes. I'll check it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Do you understand? But sometimes, in fact, let me, Isoma, should I tell you something that we're trying to do? I'm trying to work on bringing her to the convention actually to speak. Did you hear that? So again, so imagine if I brought her to the convention to speak now, and you make her a bitch, maybe she will collect it in that place.
Sharp.
But I mean, me and that woman on a normal day, there's no how we're going to meet. You know, by the grace of God, I can fly business, but she doesn't even fly business. She flies private. So while I'm going to the main aircraft to go and manage business class, she's going to the private jet something to go and enter. And even me, even the business I'm flying itself, it's an economy business, you know, because you can fly business Virgin, 16 million, or you can fly Qatar, where you go first, they go first. You know, Qatar is like catapult, you know, because from here, you can go to, if you enter Virgin or BA, you just go like this, 6 hours. Qatar is catapult. You know, when they first draw the catapult to the back, so they first draw you to Qatar, to Doha first. They now release you to the UK. Like catapult. So while those ones don't enter 6 hours, my own catapult, still they go like 18 hours. Because I go first do like 8 hours, go Doha. They will come release me another 8 hours before I go reach where they go. Have mercy on my soul. So it's a catapult situation, right? So normally, on a normal level, I would never be able to access somebody like that in my life, you know, but opportunities and, you know, getting in the right rooms makes that possible. And what we want to do is to provide that opportunity to a lot of people. Mr. Andrew is laughing. Now, catapult now. You don't know it's catapult. Qatar is like catapult now. That's why they call it Qatar. You know, it's a catapult. You know, they go first draw you, come back, can't release you to your destiny. You know, so for example, now let me give you an instance. For example, now I'm flying out of Heathrow on Wednesday. I'm leaving Wednesday, 4 p.m. They go first draw me, go back, go Qatar. I'm going to now land in Lagos, 9 a.m. the next morning. Let me explain. If I had gone by Virgin, that 4 o'clock where they take off, 10 o'clock, I don't land Lagos. 11 o'clock, I don't day house. I've slept 6 hours. I've woken up, taken my children to school, got into my office, chill. Then the catapult airline is just landing. After suffered travel all over the world. So God is going to help us. We are all going to make it in life, you know. But it's important for us to make sure that we start to realize that, you know, even after we do all the right things, the relationships and our ability to constantly, you know, crawl up the social structure to get into places where conversations are different. You know, get into places where there's already an assumption of competence. You know, if you meet somebody in a certain room, there's already an assumption of competence. They do not ask whether you can do what you say you can do. They just know or believe that you can do it. And then you get the project, and then even if you cannot do it, you find somebody that can do it. You understand? You know, so you need to enter into a level where there's an assumption of competence. You know, an assumption of competence, you know, in your business. And to get there, so that's what we're trying to build, where we can build businesses. And, you know, while they are on their journey, we want to be able to provide them access to some of these people that are building their business. For example, one of the biggest dreams that I have is, let's assume we're able to bring in, I don't know, a Dangote. Let's just assume that we can either bring in a Dangote or the MD of Keystone Bank or somebody that is grand. If we secure that person today, one of the things that I'm going to do is that I'm going to make sure that we have a pitch session, right? A pitch session at the convention. That's what I'm going to make sure that we have. And then we're going to drive a lot of our entrepreneurs and put 5 or 10 of the best pitches that we have to come and pitch their businesses for 2 minutes in the entire to the entire room in the convention, right? We will pick the best. We will give that person 1 million naira, whatever it is that we can afford to give them. But what would really happen, right? What will really, really, really happen is that there'll be somebody in the room who can really, really help them. Okay, I need to run, but I need to read a message. So anybody else? Yeah, we do. We have those people actually. And we're already having command. In fact, one of them is the one that sent me the message that I said we're going to work on something. Yeah, we do have those people that can set up. We can set up. We can set up. So I don't want to do. I don't want us to do a grant. It might be a zero interest loan or whatever it is, or but I don't want us to give businesses grants, because I have a feeling there's a sense in which grant has, an addiction to grant makes business owners lazy, and their business just becomes about accessing the next grant and the next grant and the next grant, So for me, but again, we will look at it and see what it is. But we'll give some grants. Like I said, if we do a business pitch, there'll be a grant, and then there'll be opportunities to be able to help them grow. Low interest rates, very low interest rates. Yes, we can do that. But I don't know if we want to make a habit of giving people free money, because I've seen people who have crippled, fantastic ideas by constantly looking for the next free grant to get. But thank you so much. How many of us sort of learned something from today? I don't even know what it is that you would have learned, but I hope it was useful. I'll try another one. I can't try tomorrow because I'm going to be. If I get to the train and the internet is good, I might try it. But there's going to be I'm going to be on the train tomorrow. I'm leaving at 5:30, and then I'm back to London tomorrow so that I can go and enter my catapult. Catapult. Oh Lord.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you. Somebody is so private jet my life, so I cannot be entering catapult again.
We'll get that. Okay. We'll get that.
Philip,
Thank you.
Bye, Blas.
Have a safe trip
Thank
tomorrow.
you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. I'm really, really grateful. So, like
Keep
I said,
we are proud of you.
In a nutshell, let me quickly say this. In a nutshell, relationships are very critical if you want to build a massive business. And the earlier let me explain something. So the guy who invited me to speak at the House of Lords, I've known him for 12 years. 12 years, I'm telling you. And I've consistently provided value to him. I mean, I knew him, and then there was the time that he wanted to start. In 2014, he was going to start a private jet leasing company. He put together some partners. So let me see. Let me show you guys something. Sorry, I just want to show you this so that you see. Let me show you something. I want to show you a picture so that you guys will see. How do I find this picture now? Just give me 1 second. I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to close. Okay, no. I'm trying to find the picture. Picture from 2014, so I'm sure it's going to be a very tough one to find. When you see the picture, you see how long ago I've known this guy. It was before I wrote this book. So relationships are very critical, guys. As in, you can't even begin to imagine how powerful relationships are and how much they have a massive impact on the quality of our lives, right? The quality of our, because most people don't realize is that if you're going to be successful, you realize that almost every successful person you know has had a set of relationships that they've kept, and many times for many, 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 many years. Many, many, many years. Where's this picture? Can't find this picture again. I can't find the picture. I have to. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can. If I find it, I'll share it on the group. I wasn't using this device then, but I know I see it once in a while when Apple reminds you of like the past and all those things. I have to find this picture. Sorry, my mind is locked in on it too. I think yes, I found it. Yes, so let me show you guys so that you can see it. It's going to load. It's loading a bit. So remember, see this picture that you're seeing on your screen. So this is the guy. This was the guy who introduced me to him. These were the partners that started the private jet leasing company together. And then, of course, this is me. And this was after we had the meeting in the office back then. And then the business was quite a success. Right. I mean, it was a beautiful model, and it sort of was quite great. But I've known this guy for that long. So ultimately, right, if you're going to build relationships, you're going to build relationships for a very long time. And today is the reason why I got into the the House of Parliament, the House of Lords. But what I mean is that we have to be deliberate about building relationships. I had to go to Abuja for this meeting. Building relationship with the top 1%, because you can't, no matter how much money you get, you can't enter until somebody brings you in. Somebody has to bring you into those spaces, and you have to be able to trade something, get into the right networks. And I'm hoping that we can help us do that. Thank you so much. I just wanted to show you this picture so that you see, how it has more, that I've been doing some of these things. You know that this is, all of you here know that this picture is a long time ago, because I was not wearing uniform back then. Although I was already transforming into the uniform style. Oh God. Okay, have a great evening, everyone. If I have time tomorrow, if the internet on, by the way, internet is not working everywhere. All of you are forming abroad, all the internet working all the time. It's not working. I was in France, internet is not working. In UK, internet is not working. So the next time you're chatting with somebody online on Zoom, on WhatsApp, and the thing is Don't assume it's your internet. It can be their own. It's not our fault. Let's not use the low self-esteem and kill ourselves. As well. Okay. Have a great evening.
And you too. Thank you very much. Thank you, boss. Thank you.
Please,
Good night,
I
bro.
would
Thanks,
appreciate if you drop a feedback on the group, please.